And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that duct tape from times gone by. It's been a while. It has been a while, but again, some good memories were had, especially in those Latin American events. Papi. It was beautiful. It's beautiful. But we're back here with the second half of the GSL. GSL Code S Round of 16 Group C. Group C, of course. For those wondering, this is a replay cast. If you want to support GSL, and it's totally up to you if you want to do so, but you can do so by going to their Patreon. I think we have command !GSL in the chat. Yeah, there we go. GSL in the chat does give you a link to their Patreon, and you yourself can support the GSL. You gain access to, they have like behind the scene interviews and like additional content. They have photo shoots that they let you in on, as in they show you the photo shoots and some of the behind the scenes ahead of time. And they also have replay packs available as well. So if you want to learn how to play like ByuN, like Dark, like DRG, like Australia, you can do so. You can do so yourself by studying those replays and having a look at them yourselves, or even just watching them just to see their POV, just to see like how fast they are and kind of what they prioritize and how they do kind of approach a game like StarCraft. But of course, we're here with our next matchup. And as we switch our scenes over, we can have a look at the group itself. We've already finished up 2 of these best of 3s. Dark did take down DRG in a very close ZvZ. I don't want to say it was one-sided. I mean, it went all the way to the ace match, yes, but even in a game 3, it still went down to the wire. It's still back and forth and still very close. Likewise, our second match, though, ByuN was looking dominant in the TVP, and we have seen ByuN go back and forth with Dark in the past, as they're going to be hitting each other next. Going to be Dark versus ByuN. After that winners match, we have the elimination match, which is going to be DRG versus Australia. Again, Australia, he struggled against ByuN, but I want to see what he has to offer against Zerg in a different matchup entirely. I do look forward to that after our winners match, and then after that we have the decider match, which will be the loser of the winners match and the winner of the elimination match. A final chance to make it out of the group. Again, 4 players enter, only 2 make it out into the round of 8. The other 2 will be eliminated from GSL. And we are getting into game 1 between Dark and ByuN. Game 1, gonna be on Site Delta. Oh boy. We have seen a lot of Site Delta today already, actually. In that ZvZ, and now again here in the ZvT. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Site Delta, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. We go, and again, these 2 have faced off many times in the Open Cups, whether it's KSL, whether it's Kung Fu Cup, whether it's ESL Open Cup Asia. ByuN and Dark are some of the more active players in the online tournament scene. I mean, to be fair, all the Korean players are very active other than Maru. I think Maru is the only one that doesn't really dabble too much in them. Maru, DRG a little bit as well, and Shin. DRG and Shin, they aren't too active in the online tournaments either. But players like Dark, ByuN, Hero, Classic, Solar, every week, they're there multiple times a week. They are on that grind set, and as a result, they have plenty of experience with each other. So as a result, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of metagaming getting involved. And here we go, already, the low ground 2-Rax. Low ground 2-Rax here from ByuN. He's been very fond of this build the entire year, ever since last year, actually. ByuN has been doing this game after game after game, and this is a different, this is the first time I'm seeing this season, this new map pool. ByuN, he would always mix in 3-Raxes in the middle of series. This is basically 3-Rax Mass Reaper. It's a Mass Reaper build here from ByuN, very all in, but this is the first time I'm seeing this on the new map pool. Players have been shying away from this build, so I'm curious if ByuN can catch Dark off guard. We'll see how long it takes for Dark to really recognize what's happening. We'll see if he does try to squeeze out a fast third base. It is a hatch gas pool, standard opener out of Dark. And yeah, this can very quickly snowball out of control. First wave of Reapers are moving out. Dark, he doesn't pull out of gas. He went straight for 100 gas first. Link speed is already on the way. Dark playing very safe here against ByuN. He's going for his third. First Reaper does reveal itself. Dark still has not actually read what's going on. He is not fully aware the first Reaper does arrive. Going to be chipping away at these Lings. As additional Lings do arrive as well, and so far this Reaper hasn't gotten too much value yet. The Queens will make it out. And Dark does confirm, of course, the low ground 2 racks. Third base is thrown down, and we should be forcing a cancel on this third because additional Reapers are coming. Now, I do, of course, have to clarify as well. This isn't... You can transition out of this from ByuN. You can transition out of this into a longer game. But this is still very committed here from ByuN. We need to deny this third. We need to get a kill on even a couple of workers. Third CC is thrown down. Sorry, natural base is thrown down behind this. I'm so used to saying a third. Natural is on the way. Do force that cancel. Containing Dark to 2 bases. But Link's speed is about to kick in. Remember that Dark did not pull out. He didn't pull out of gas. Got 100 gas so quickly. He gets us around. Does get us around, and so far the KDA charges are keeping these Reapers alive. So far so good, and ByuN, he will escape, saving every single one of those Reapers. Not a single one goes down. And now Dark is going for a counterattack, but alas, he cannot touch this wall. And ByuN, he's done quite a bit with this, but the reality is that canceling the third base isn't anything special. He could have done that with the 2 racks. Didn't need 3 racks for that. Didn't need all these Reapers for that. So yeah, I feel like Dark is still in a good position, or in a decent position. I don't know if I would go as far as to say good. Of course, he didn't want to cancel this third base. It did force him to create additional Queens. A little bit faster than normal. Did delay this third base. And ByuN is going straight into his factory from here. +1 on the way. And basically, ByuN is going to be going for a later timing. This is going to be with Stim. A later timing with Stim instead. I don't think he's gonna wait for the starport, but he may just go for an add-on swap and yeah, go straight for the starport actually. And his move out is gonna be an interesting one because it won't just be Marines with Medivacs with Stim. There are gonna be these Reapers from the early game as well. And there it is. We have the reactor on the factory for an add-on swap with that starport for those Medivacs. Back at home, Dark going for a Roach Warren. Okay. Dark, he's up 10 workers. Again, like, I feel like when you invest this heavily into these Reapers, you do need to do more than just cancel a third. You do need to trade better with the Lings, kill Queens, kill workers. Things that ByuN wasn't quite able to accomplish. Now Dark, he's happily saturating his bases. Working towards a very fast lair. I mean, I say a very fast lair, but this lair is going to be for Roach speed. As we are committed to Roaches. And the question is going to become, how many Roaches do we have when the push arrives? You know, will Dark have enough to deflect the first push? How many losses will he sustain? Will ByuN do enough, or will he not? As we do get another surround on the Reapers once again. We get 3 Reapers for 9 Marines. Sorry, for 9 Lings. The Marines are pushing out. Medivacs are on the way. Dark even trying to catch some reinforcements. There it is. Medivacs are boosting across the map. They are pushing. Meanwhile, back at home, Dark, he's already building up his Roach count. I mean, he saw this move out ahead of time. He's been getting ready for it. He brings forward all of his Queens and all of his Roaches as well. He doesn't have enough energy for Transfuse. Roaches are going down. But so far, good target firing on those Medivacs. It looks like some of the Queens are being focused down. Not a bad trade here for ByuN, but he doesn't have enough. He runs out of steam. And Dark defends. Dark did lose 1 Queen in the end, but again, that's going to be worth it. He does still have enough to inject. He's going to be able to get away with this saturated third base, and he's getting into Roaches, into 1-1. Now the question becomes, how all in are we going to be? Because ByuN should start up he should have started his third by now. His third is very late, and we're going for a second push. We have another tank on the way there, but I was like, how all in are we? This is how all in we are. We're pulling the boys. There is no third CC on the way. ByuN insanely all in with this push. It's all or nothing for ByuN. And Dark, he hasn't droned up any further. He cut workers at 67. That is 3-base saturation. He's been making nothing but roaches. No Ravagers. He does have to kite. Does have to be very careful with how he engages. So far, so good. Picks up a couple of those SCVs. The Roach Ward is going to go down. No more roaches can be produced. 1-1 is not going to finish, but the tanks are exposed, and no, not even. Not a single tank goes down. Finally, one of them will fall. The Ravagers do finish, and they will bow down that last tank. Just barely. Transfusers are on point. Lings are coming in. Dark does lose a lot of workers, but he's holding. Dark is barely holding on. 18 drones went down to the 21 of ByuN. He's making SCVs. He's crazy. ByuN, he's making SCVs back at home. I mean, if ByuN gets into another mineral line, then it's going to be worth it. Then he can maybe macro out of this. But you don't just pull 22 workers and just get into a longer game. That doesn't happen, Papi. He's waiting for reinforcements. But again, there is a chance if he's able to pull Dark out of position, able to catch him off guard. ByuN can maybe get into a base, but for now, Dark, he's just making more roaches. 1-1 finishes up. Doesn't start 2-2 yet. Oh my god. If at first you notice to see, try again. We pull the boys for a second time. Let's go. The boys have arrived. 2 tanks have arrived as well. And hey, good target firing on the Ravagers. But again, these tanks aren't really threatening anything. One of them does unsiege. Reinforcements getting caught out. Ooh. Tanks take down one of the tanks. We have 1 tank left. We're getting ready for a surround. And here we go. ByuN, he just commands. He just goes for it. Gets on top of the queens. The tanks will fall. But ByuN, he's gaining ground. He gets every single queen. He gets the Ravagers as well. But the Biles. And the Marine Army, we're running out of steam. We're running out of Marines. And ByuN did not touch the economy. Dark, he's still just pumping out roaches. And ByuN is being just pulled apart. Being dragged over towards the 4th base. The 4th, which doesn't matter. Like, this can die and it's okay. ByuN, he did not have enough to kill Dark. So, do we pull the boys a 3rd time? Do we do we go for round 3? As we stim forward. Again, the stims are killing us, Papi. As our entire army is heavily overstimmed. For a moment I got excited. I was like, yo, we going? We're just transferring over towards the natural. Trying to keep this going. Here we go. We do have a split push coming in. ByuN trying to pull Dark apart. He's got a double drop here on the right-hand side. Double drop towards the left, but it's not going to be enough. GG is going to get called. And Dark will take game number 1. After surviving 2 base all-ins. I mean, GG. GG, well played. Oh, again, very aggressive play there out of ByuN. Honestly, his play here reminds me of Maru last week. If you remember, Maru in Group A was playing also very aggressively, and it's making sense for those who are aware. ByuN and Maru are really good friends, like borderline best friends sort of thing. They spend a lot of time outside of just practicing the game, but with each other. But they also do a lot of customs. I mentioned before that ByuN, the 2 racks opener, is something that he's been doing since last year. Maru and ByuN actually worked on it together. I say worked on it together, like it was like special. He originated it, and then ByuN and Maru, they got a hold of the opener and they refined it together themselves in preparation for DreamHack Atlanta. DreamHack Atlanta, which was I think November of last year. But like for example, like again, like they do a lot of theory crafting, they do a lot of practice together, and to have ByuN and Maru play similarly coming into GSL, this makes sense. It is now making sense here. It's you can see the similarities in these 2 groups, and it's not working out. It's not working out too well here. At least not initially, but here we go. We're getting into game number 2. Dark, of course, has his lead. For those who maybe didn't tune into Maru's group of GSL, Maru was also very aggressive and very all-in. I believe it was on side Delta, where Maru did go for a 2-base all-in as well, actually. And it was on Alcyone, where Maru went for a 3-base all-in. He went for an 8 racks on Alcyone. But here we go. We are loading in to Hardlead. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hardlead, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. I mentioned the 8 racks. I'm very curious if ByuN goes for an 8 racks this game. Very curious, because again, that is what Maru was relying a lot on in his GSL group, and I wonder if ByuN is going to do the same. We'll see. As Maru, he was going for 2-base all-ins and 8 racks, which is a 3-base all-in. For now, it's going to be a 2 racks opener, which is fine. It's normal. Is that standard? Standard for ByuN. This time it shouldn't be a 3 racks. We saw that in the previous game, and usually we don't want to do that multiple games in a row. Also, we mentioned it in game 1, but the 3 racks from ByuN wasn't really worth it. It didn't really accomplish too much. All it did was deny a hatchery, and again, you can pull that off with the 2 racks as well. So it just wasn't worth it in the end. As Dark is going for a hatch, gas pool. Gas pool. Standard opener out of Dark. ByuN. We'll keep our eyes on him. Now with this low ground 2 racks, we can go into a 4 racks, which we've been seeing a lot of. We can go into a 3 racks. We can go into a 3cc 2-on-1. We can go for a different 3cc 2-on-1 variation with Banshees, which Maru is very fond of. Like, this opener is very flexible from ByuN. Can go in a lot of different directions. It's like a child of a bromance. Ah, let's go. It's beautiful, Pappy. It's beautiful. As the Reaper does dip into the main base. So far, just poking. Of course, getting eyes on these Lings. Ling speed is on the way for Dark. ByuN will pull back for now. Behind this, he is going for a 3rd racks. Okay, he is setting up for a 3rd racks behind this. This could lead into a 4 racks as well, with a 4th barracks thrown down in the main base. I'm curious if we're going to be committing. Meanwhile, Dark, he gets away with a 3rd, and ByuN is already transitioning into his add-ons. So Dark, he will get away with this 3rd base. This is something that shouldn't have happened, but it did because ByuN did go for the main first. He didn't check the 3rd base location. So ByuN, he was a little bit greedy with his Reaper movement, and Dark is the player to get away with his greed as a result. So a good start here for Dark to end up with a fast 3rd, or an on-time 3rd base. Behind this, ByuN working on stim, eventually combat shields. He's building up his bio army. Again, this isn't all in. This is going to build up towards a stim timing, that is true, and we should be pushing without medevacs. Like, before we get into a factory or a starport, the medevacs should be upon us. But because it's only 3 Raxes, this isn't meant to kill. This is designed to trade. Designed to trade with Dark, force him to make Lings, maybe get a Queen, deny creep. This doesn't have to break into a base and kill a mineral line. Behind this, ooh, that is a roach ward. Dark, of course, once again going for roaches. It's, you know, he likes the roaches. It's his unit of choice. Very fond of them. Even before the patch, Dark would often play with roaches in TVZ. Roach ward once again is thrown down. Again, roaches are actually really useful defensively early on. Obviously, as the game progresses, they get outscaled in the mid game, in the mid to late game. Roaches, they kind of run out of steam. But early on, they have their uses. And here we go. Here comes that move out. Stim is done. Combat shields will finish by the time the army gets across the map. And we are transitioning behind this. We have a factory and an engineering bay on the way for upgrades. So again, this isn't all in by any means. This is forcing out an army, forcing a reaction, and we may even get a couple of overlords. Ooh, and that will supply block Dark. Overlord goes down. Creep should be cleaned up as well. Good scan. And we are actually diving on top of the queens. Big commitment here from ByuN. He gets 2 queens. Now he turns around, he goes for the roaches as well. But his stim is running out. Again, very aggressive push here from ByuN. He gets into the mineral line. He's going to focus down some drones. And he gets 2, 3 drones as well. Oh my god. A really worthwhile dive here. ByuN, looking at the units lost us, he bleeds out a couple of marines. But bearing in mind, he only lost marines. Minerals, essentially. He got 2 queens, 8 roaches, and 3 drones. He saw an opportunity and he went for it. I'll be honest, I think a big part of this was because of the supply block that did delay additional roaches from coming out to defend. So Dark was vulnerable, and it does take some losses. This has been worthwhile. This was a worthwhile push here for ByuN. Getting energy-based units like queens, getting drones, clearing creep, and he even survived with some marines. He made it out with half of his army. And now, behind this, he can now hit with medevacs. Now the medevacs are going to come out, he can stim a little bit more freely. He can be much more active. So a much better start for ByuN. Behind this, 3rd CC's on the way. Additional Raxes. We're getting into our 5 rack setup on 2 bases. Has to be expected. Meanwhile, Dark is resaturating his bases. Just, again, heavily focused on roach production. And ByuN has to be careful. He has to be careful not to overextend. His goal here just to contain Dark. As, oh my god, he's going straight for the main. And Dark is in position. He's going to be forced back. But if ByuN plays this out well, he can deny creep, and he can make it very difficult for Dark to get a 4th. Dark should be working on a 4th base soon, but he's actually, there we go, 4th base here in the center of the map. Oh, big supply block, 6 overlords on the way. Ay, ay, ay. It's very common to get supply blocked when you're going for roaches, just because roaches are so supply intensive. Even Dark can be caught out by that. And we are going not just for a 1-1 timing. We have 3 base saturation, and we are going for a Nidus Worm. Okay, we do have an Overlord in the main, an Overseer in the main even. Uh-oh. Nidus is on the way, 1-1 about to kick in here for Dark. He's pushing through the center of the map. He's going to try and drag the attention of ByuN here towards the 3rd base. ByuN, he has tanks, but he's going for another double drop. KK does pull back. He does have part of his army out on the map. Dark going to be threatening a push, and ByuN, oh my god, overreacting a bit to this. Even pulling some workers. Dark, he's going to pull back. Meanwhile, while the attention is here on the front lines, we have a Nidus in the main base, and ByuN, he has noticed. The boys are being pulled. The Nidus does finish. ByuN out of position. Oh my God, and the queens come out as well. Creepers being spread. The armory is denied. But ByuN doesn't care. He dives on top of the Ravagers. We'll get a decent chunk of them. His worker count is still looking good, but he has lost control of his main, and more SCVs are going down. Even forced to lift up the CC. eBay goes down. The armory as well. These are kills, not cancels. The tanks are coming in, so from here, Dark could leave, but the boys are being pulled again. 27, 31 SCVs go down. ByuN, he does not have an economy, not anymore. At this point, Dark, he could leave and he's ahead. The queens are being left behind. And ByuN will clean this up, but he's down to less than half the workers of Dark. Again, he just lost too many SCVs. He was out of position. He could not stop the Nidus. He wasn't ready for it. And back at home, Dark is chilling. He's getting a 4th base up and running, fully saturated. +2 on the way, Burrow, tunneling claws on the horizon as well. I'm sure. And Dark is miles ahead. And I was curious. I was really excited to see if ByuN was gonna 8 racks, just like Maru. I was really curious if he was gonna go all in, but we're not gonna find out. No, it's not happening. We can't think about 3-base saturation yet. Not anymore. We have turrets on the way, sensor towers as well. ByuN scanning ahead of time, and this setup here from ByuN, it screams we're gonna turtle. We are moving out though, which I'm happy about. But also he's pushing into a 200 supply army. I think the turtling may be the better call here, as here we go, we catch the forces of ByuN. Tanks are unsieged. The move out was never going to work here, as Dark, he collapses on the army. Vials will not connect, but Dark takes control of the 3rd base. Oh my god. I'm loving the repositioning of the tanks, but it's just not going to be enough. 9 more workers go down. ByuN is going to force this back. He does force back the army. ByuN, he preserves his Ravagers. He's going to be able to reinforce. He can turn back around. He can take a fight. Oh my god. And there's tunneling claws that we were talking about earlier. We're transitioning into Ling Bane, +1 melee, Bailey Nest, soon to be Bailing Speed. Dark is maxed out once again. And ByuN still struggling to maintain his 3rd. Oh my god, Biles Vulcanite, they take down the medevac. And GG is going to be called. Dark takes the series 2-0, and he advances on to the round of 8. GG. GG, well played. Game 1, of course, Dark, he was the defender. He was deflecting all in after all in after all in. In game number 2, he turned the tables on ByuN entirely. I don't think ByuN's opener was bad. If you remember, he achieved quite a lot of damage with his 3 racks push, and remember, he preserved a lot of his Marines as well. From there, he was going into drop play. But the reality is that what he wasn't expecting, what he wasn't ready for, was the Nidus, and that was the game-winning move for Dark. We saw that Dark didn't have enough to break the 3rd. He was trying to, but he didn't have enough. Even if he had all of his forces there, he could not touch the 3rd base of ByuN. But what he was doing was keeping the attention of ByuN at that 3rd, keeping all the army there as well. That allowed for the Nidus to get up and running. And that Nidus did win the game for Dark, just pulling ByuN apart. And yeah, taking control of the main, killing over 30 workers. Crazy. GG, well played. And yeah, congratulations to Dark for advancing on as we get ready here for our next series. Didn't Dark do this versus Clem in some tournament or another? The move always looks so strong. I know that Dark does something similar. I say something similar. I know he goes for Nidus all-ins if he sees you go for a 3cc 2-on-1, sorry, or 3cc Banshee, I should say. But if he did it against Oliveira recently, I haven't seen that. Oh, as it doesn't sound like we casted it, so I'm not too sure, But GG, congratulations to Dark as he does advance on, and from here we are going to be getting ready for our next matchup for our elimination match. Dark, he makes it through. He can, rest easy tonight, advancing on in GSL. ByuN has another chance, so if you're a fan of ByuN, ByuN will have another chance in the decider match where ByuN is waiting for the winner of this series. It's going to be DRG versus Australia.